States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Here.
Mr. Franco.
I'm here.
And Mr. Cabrera.
I am here in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, and notice requirements have been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice on the bulletin board here in Borough Hall and by mailing and emailing same to the Herald of Cape May County and the Press of Atlantic City on October 15th, 2024. In the event of an emergency, your emergency exit is where you came in, our front left, your back right, or just by the American flag. This meeting is being shown live here today. Quick sound check. Are we good, Vicki?
I think so.
Sound, Facebook, we're all good. Hello, everybody watching at home. And also on the borough's YouTube channel. If you're watching this meeting and you want to ask a question, we have the conference line just in front of us. You can access that call line by dialing the number 888-363-4734. And when prompted, you're going to enter the access code 969-9020, followed by the pound or the hashtag. If you watch this recorded version of this meeting, and you have questions, or you'd like to make a statement, or any help or assistance you may need, you're more than welcome to email our clerk at clerk@wildcrest.org or phone her at 609-729-8040. Looks like we have one ordinance to adopt and 3 to introduce.
That's correct. The first is Ordinance 1444 regarding fence permit fees.
Motions that ordinance number 1444 be placed on second reading and final passage by title only, sorry.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1444 be placed on second and final reading by title only.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Ordinance 1444 reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest amending Section 85-82 Fences and Walls Fence Permit Fee of Chapter 85 of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest Land Use Ordinance.
Motion that a public hearing now be held on ordinance number 1444.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that a public hearing on ordinance number 1444 be held.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Floor is open for any public comment on, ordinance number 1444. Anybody on the conference line? Public comment, ordinance number 1444. Hearing none,
Motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 1444 now be closed.
I'll second it.
it has been moved and seconded that the public hearing on ordinance number 1444 now be closed.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that ordinance number 1444 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1444 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have Ordinance 1445, and it reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest amending and supplementing Section 79-32.3, Schedule IC, Restricted Parking Zones for Persons with Disabilities of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest.
Motion that ordinance number 1445 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on February 5th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1445 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on February 5th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have Ordinance 1446, and it reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest amending and supplementing Section 79-18 loading zones designated and Section 79-41 Schedule X10 loading zones of Chapter 79 Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest.
Motion that ordinance number 1446 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on February 5th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that ordinance number 1446 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on February 5th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 1447, and it reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, amending and supplementing Chapter 79-35, Schedule 4, time limit parking spaces of Chapter 79, vehicles and traffic of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest.
Motion that ordinance number 1447 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought for second and final reading, and public hearing on February 5th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Second it?
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1447 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought for second and final reading and public hearing on February 5th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have the resolutions. The first is authorizing participation in the 2025 ACM GIF Safety Incentive Program.
Motion it?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing approval of change order number 6, final, Beach Patrol Headquarters renovations to reflect deductions for labor required to reinstall existing signs and flagpole, deductions of overhead electrical service, and unused allowance in the amount of $16,816.90, and supplementals for additional concrete topping for second floor in the amount of $3,990.22 for a reduced amended contract amount at the not-to-exceed sum of $2,211,597.39.
Motion that?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is accepting round 4 present and prospective need obligations as calculated by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs.
Motion it?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing increase of contract amount of $3,000 to Contemporary Technology, Inc. for network support information technology specialist contract.
I'll motion it?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing refund of EMS overpayment made payable to Marilyn Petit in the amount of $171.83.
Motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing refund of EMS overpayment made payable to Linda Ewing in the amount of $113.04.
Motion?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing expenditure for a VAC-CON sewer cleaner for the Public Works Department.
I'll motion it?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing expenditure for computerized maintenance management system for the Public Works Department.
Motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing advertisement of notice of sealed bid opening for a lease of a portion of the Nesbit Center building pursuant to NJSA 40A:12-14A of the local lands and building law.
I'll motion it?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is granting a street opening permit due to hardship to create a depressed curb and install an apron at 117 East Syracuse Avenue.
Motion?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing increase of contract in the amount of $3,000 to Colliers Engineering and Design for Seaview Avenue traffic signal improvement services.
Motion?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is establishing the salaries for 2025 stipend agreements.
I'll motion it?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing extending the 2025 budget introduction and adoption dates.
Motion.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing advertisement of a notice to bidders for landscaping services.
Motion.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing certain appropriation transfers.
Motion it.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing the appointment of Joseph Viscomi to fill a vacancy as alternate member number 4 of the Wildwood Crest Planning Board, commencing immediately and expiring December 31st, 2026.
I'll motion it.
I'll second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes, congrats, Joe.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Has this individual been properly vetted?
And fingerprint.
Congratulations. Yes.
Very good. Next is authorizing the auction of abandoned vehicles on an online auction website.
I'll motion it.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Now we have 2 add-ons. The first is ratifying a site access agreement and work authorization for property located at 6712 Park Boulevard.
I'll motion it.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Lastly is supporting the authorization of the fiscal year 2025 Local Recreation Improvement Grant application funded by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs.
I'll motion it.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. That all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I got me all mixed up.
Thanks, Judge.
Sure.
Okay, brings us to reports. Mr. Cripps is not here with us this evening, so it looks like we have one report. Chief, just you.
Just me. Good evening. I'm going to touch on some highlights from my December report to the Commissioner of Public Safety. In December, the police department responded to 1,019 calls for service, conducted 36 investigations. We had 180 service calls. That includes alarms, citizen assist, fires, medical assist, school-related activities, and utility complaints. We conducted 97 motor vehicle stops with 37 traffic summonses issued. There were 2 motor vehicle accidents. We conducted 303 property checks and 394 training hours. We had 7 adult arrests with 5 DWIs.
Okay,
Any questions?
none here.
All good, thank you.
Can I ask a question? How many of those calls were to Lower Township and Diamond Beach of those ones that you have? Do you have a breakdown of that?
I don't have a breakdown of that in front of me.
Can we get that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay.
Yes. Motion that all reports received from the court administrator, chief financial officer, tax collector, chief of police, supervisor for the recreation department, construction official, emergency services coordinator for the EMS and Wildwood Crest volunteer fire company chief for the month ending December 31st, 2024, be accepted as presented.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that all reports received from the court administrator, chief financial officer, tax collector, chief of police, supervisor for the recreation department, construction official, emergency services coordinator for the EMS, and the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company chief for the month ending December 31st, 2024 be accepted as presented. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all minutes from the commission's meeting dated December 18th, 2024 and January 2nd, 2025 be approved as presented.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that all minutes from the commission meetings dated December 18th, 2024, and January 2nd, 2025 be approved as presented. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Okay. That brings us to the engineer's report. We have with us here this evening the future of the Blasey Associates, Jody Stanford and Jacob Wright, here to give the engineer's report. Which one of you fine gentlemen is going to give tonight's report?
That'll be me, sir.
This is your initiation to public speaking here tonight, right?
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
far away.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I have 4 capital project updates, starting with the Bayside bulkhead replacement and flood mitigation improvements. The contractor has begun working on replacing the existing stormwater system, or storm sewer system, excuse me, and replacing the bulkhead starting at Primrose, going northbound to Cressy Avenue. My second update is for the fiscal year 2023 NJDCA Small Cities Program, municipal building bathroom improvements. The rough plumbing and the electrical work are complete, and the contractor is finishing up work on the drywall. And then once finished, we'll begin painting. My third update is for the fiscal year 2024 NJDOT Municipal Aid Program, reconstruction of Toledo Avenue. The contractor is currently working on the replacement of the sanitary sewer system and the water system, starting from the bay and working towards the beach. The contractor has completed 2 blocks so far of that utility work. And my fourth update is for the NJI Bank sanitary, sewer, and roadway improvements. The roadways have been surveyed, base mapped, and we are beginning the design phase of the project. We expect to get out the bid sometime in April or May. As for grant applications, there are no updates for those. We currently have 5 grants in review that are being processed as we speak. And that is all.
Okay, governing body, any questions for Jake?
Jake did a good job.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
I'll comb my hair like
State
yours.
Farm would stop.
So we did, it was an add-on resolution number 19 for the recreation grant. So assuming you guys, I know your office is gonna start working on that. Just for clarification, this would be for the shade structure at the playground on Sunrise Park. So my understanding through talking with your boss, that this is basically kind of like $100,000, up to $100,000 of free money, but you guys have been authorized to make that application.
Okay.
All right, questions from the public for our engineer? Don't hold back. This is initiation night. Anybody else? All right, anybody on the call have any questions for our engineer? All right, you guys are off easy tonight. All right. That brings us to any correspondence, which there is none. Items listed under discussion, the Budget Advisory Board is being tabled.
Correct.
That brings us to old business. Bicycle safety bike path, nothing on that. 250th birthday committee, we're still soliciting volunteers. Municipal Old Tourism Building use, we did reauthorize notice to bidders tonight. Historical Museum is also a budgetary item. Time limit on parking, I believe we introduced that tonight, so we can strike that from old business.
Will do.
Concession agreement, hotel zone, that's still on hold. Traffic calming is also on hold. Back beach excavation is subject at that, and the Army Corps Dune project, that's all tied together. Our meeting with the DEP and the Army Corps is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Dredging, anything on that?
Hoping to hear back for next meeting, Mayor.
Okay. New Jersey Avenue infrastructure, pre-county, I know engineering is also working on that as well, but funding needs to be put in place for that project to start hopefully in the fall, because the county's coming in 2026. Public Works roof, Mr. Shear, you have an update on the Public Works roof? It looks like it's coming along, but they're about 60-70% done.
It's a work in progress, it's coming along.
It's this weather, anybody up on the roof in this weather?
They were up there today.
God bless them.
Yeah, God bless them.
terrible.
Washington Seaview Beach outfalls in capacity, we're still waiting on information from FEMA as to whether or not we received the grant money. So, all right, that ends all the old business. That we'll move right in. Everybody, have anything else under old business you want to
Good,
talk
thank you.
about?
No, sir, I'm good.
All right, public comments. We'll start with anybody here in the audience. Yes, sir.
Mayor, I'd like to answer Lisa's question, if that's okay.
Sure.
So in the month of December, we provided mutual aid 9 times. 6 times were to the city of Wildwood, once to North Wildwood, and twice to Lower Township.
That's for the month of, I'm sorry.
December.
December.
Okay.
All right, that brings us to public comments. We'll start with anybody here in the audience. If you have any questions, come on up to the podium. Do not need your address, just need your name.
Lisa Rippo, Wildwood Crest. How do I get some of the stuff that I've talked about before addressed as either correspondence or old business to be revisited? Because, as you know, I've been a big proponent of proper housing for the J1 students. I don't know if you got my email or not, but I had a meeting with Mr. Mita, who told me that he was going to take care of those girls down there. And he told me there was only a handful of them. And then I found out that most of them were his. And I called the borough office this week a couple times. I think I left a message to see if I could find out how many apartments are up there. And moving forward, how are we going to address this? I don't see that this problem's resolved. And Mr. Mita, like I said, has said that he was going to take care of the reimbursement of the girls, but he also told me there was only a handful of them, and now I'm finding out that most of them were his. And then there's other hotels down here that those girls were living. I mean, this Lower Township is the problem down here. It's like an open, nobody's watching. Who's going to monitor this? How are we doing this issue? And where do I get how many apartments are above sales? Because we need to take care of this. These girls, by the way, went home broke. They're scared. They don't want to say anything. It's not fair. They want to come back to our country, and they can't afford to.
Okay, so I think the question with respect to how many units are there, that's it's probably on their mercantile license and/or the fire safety office. I would think
Right,
we have
I called
that
and I left a message. I didn't get a call back, so I would, and just moving forward, like, I want to know that, like, what are you going to do with regards to reaching out? This is a problem in Wildwood Crest, but it's also a problem with somebody that's in Lower Township. So where do we
When you
find?
say, I'm trying to get an idea, what exactly are you asking us to do? Like, when you say, we did, as far as legally what we can do in terms of the housing and the ordinance and the enforcement, we've addressed that. But what, in addition to that, what exactly are you
Well,
asking?
I'm asking that they get reimbursed. I'm asking what you can do to reach out to Mr. Mita. This happened in Wildwood Crest. These are people that live in Wildwood Crest. They violated, like, in our town here, and they weren't violated. They weren't summoned for that. And we talked about that, yes, we did, there's an ordinance moving forward, we did that. I'm asking, like, there's still a state statute that could have been written out, and I will go back to it until this gets resolved. I will write it out if I have to. I can make a citizen's complaint. I don't want to do that. I want this to be resolved, and I want Mr. Mita to do it. I'm asking you, as people in Wildwood Crest, if you will reach out to him. I've addressed it in an email to him. He told me he was going to take care of it, but he has not responded to my most recent email because he said it was only 6 people. Well, there's like 54 people that were stuffed up there. And they're saying that they were all his. This is a borough problem. What are we doing to fix it this year? That's my question.
Okay, so I'm not aware that the borough can involve itself into a situation with a business owner in another municipality and a private property owner issue. As far as as far as the enforcement, we put that into place. So
Okay.
I'm not sure there's anything the borough can do in addition to that.
Okay.
So I'm just being honest, and I'll defer to our solicitor on anything that we could potentially do, but I'm not aware.
That's
of
fine.
personally.
I know in other places they reach out to developers or problems when there's issues in there that involve that, and I'm asking you if that's something that you would consider
If
doing.
there's code-related issues, certainly.
Well, there was code-related issues. We already discussed
But
this.
this,
It's a state It was a state statute that was
All right,
disregarded.
but I
and it
believe the
wasn't
state statute was referenced in our new ordinance. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
No,
Yes,
that's a
the ordinance
local
is
ordinance that you did. There's a
Yeah.
state statute that doesn't allow for that many people, and what are we going to do about
But
it?
listen, it's in the past. I'm not sure there's anything we can do with something that's taken place in the past. I'm just being honest.
Okay, will you find out if there's something, how long it takes that we can write that state statute? Will you do that? How long do we have to write that? If Mr. Mita doesn't want to comply and reimburse these girls for every penny they paid to stay in that crap hole up there, I'm just saying, as a borough, I would like to know the state statute that can be written, which was in effect. It's not a local ordinance that you just passed, it's a state statute that needs to be looked into. How long can we write that? If Mr. Mita doesn't want to comply, that's probably like 54 people times $800 a month for how many months, with how many people? That's a lot of money.
I'm asking what exactly, specifically, I'm trying to...
Well, I don't know, do we reach out to Lower Township and say you can't allow this? Like, this is a J1, I talked to Mr. Mead about J1 violation, he didn't want to hear about that. There are like repercussions for the J1 program if you don't comply with that. He didn't really want to hear that, he said that he would take care of it. I'm just saying, in the future, as we look forward to the summer coming, what are we doing as far as Lower Township? Like, who's watching Lower Township?
Do you know who the sponsor of these
I was just going to ask that question.
Excuse me?
Who would be the sponsor for these students?
Well, Icona is part of the sponsor, and then.
Right, they usually have to go through lack of better, a middle company to do that.
Correct. They pay before they come.
I know what the JOM program is.
Okay.
I'm pretty familiar with it.
Okay,
It's
so-
not, like, I know that, and I know what you can be kicked out for the violation of. That would be like detrimental to Icona, I would think. That's all I'm saying. Somebody needs to reach out to them and maybe talk to them about it. And as a borough that has the problem with what's going on here, I would hope that you would do that. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, gotcha. Anybody else, public comments? Anybody on the conference line have any public comments? Okay, Madam Clerk, I believe we have a matter for closed session.
Real fast, Mr. Mayor, do you want commissioner comments? That's up there
Yep.
ahead of,
Go ahead.
I'm okay for now, since we have a closed session.
okay. Mr. Schiff?
I'd like to publicly thank Public Works for the snowstorm that they handled quite well under the circumstances. People don't understand that we don't deal with this very often, so when we do, it's a work in progress, but you guys did a really nice job. All our departments did. Everybody stayed safe, and that was the most important part. Thank you.
And I will echo Mr. Schiff's comments. I also advise everyone to stay inside when they can. This is brutal out. This is brutal outside. And I want to wish everyone a great game, and may the best team win on
Go
Sunday.
Go Birds.
I just want everyone to say these words with me. Hail to the Redskins.
Don't even start, no.
Not gonna happen.
You ready? All right.
With that being
That's all I
said-
have.
Very good. So next we have authorizing executive closed in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, specifically NJSA 10:4-12B, with regard to employment.
I'll motion it.
We'll second, Trish.
It is moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. we'll
All
take
right,
a
5:28.
3-minute recess.
Very good.
Room and